Hola, amigos. NRW, Nerds Rule the World. I'm Kuya P. Once again, joined by my pal, Heather Hurt. How are you, Heather?
Oh, you know.
I do. Every day's a struggle in 2025, right? Well, one of the things I didn't know until you mentioned it, maybe less than 15 seconds ago, is you're more of a WB kid, cartoon kid than a Disney kid. I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, you have to think the 90s were peak Warner Brother Kids life. We had Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series. We had the start of Justice League the Animated Series. And we had a resurgence in the late 80s from the Looney Tunes buzz. And so we had this great, great time of animation blow up. And we had Animaniacs and Freakazoid, which we could always get into the conversation about Madman. Stan Michael Allred, your support and your love. But we had, it was my thing. I didn't grow up on Disney princesses. I grew up on Looney Tunes and Batman. So it kind of Warner Brothers defined who I was as a child by a lot, by a
I
lot, a
feel
lot.
that.
I never went to the Disney store. I went to the Warner Brothers store. And for you OGs out there who remember the Warner Brothers store
I
and
do.
a Martian spaceship in the wall in the mall.
I
Yeah.
feel that. Yeah, yeah. You know what? That's a great question I've never posed for myself. I've never pitted the two against each other. They just
Well,
existed. Fans of both. Would I say I'm more of a WB kid over a Disney kid? And in certain respects, I'd probably say more WB due
well,
to many things you mentioned.
Well, there's also some sort, the 90s were definitely a gender barrier. There was definitely levels of gender barriers. Girls were supposed to be Disney princesses and boys were supposed to be Looney.
Ah, I see.
But also one of the really cool things about the 90s in general, and it actually does put this weird barrier between Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z. Um, there was a difference in television. Television grew a lot in the 90s. And that's why so many millennials and so many of Gen X rely on have those love of movies and television because we had such a blossoming of great, great content. But what you also had in the 90s alongside Warner Brothers' absolute explosion of television is you had Disney resurging their princess line. So whereas there were boys watching Looney Tunes in the morning, there were girls dressing up as Jasmine and Pocahontas. And, we fell in love with The Lion King and all that. We had some really, really great royalty stories from Disney. But it also put this really weird gender divide. So for me to be a Warner Brothers girl was really, really weird. Like I didn't have Mickey and Minnie all over my room. I went to Six Flags. I'm from Dallas, so we had the big Six Flags over Texas, right next to Hurricane Harbor, and I had baby Looney Tunes and not baby Mickey Minnies. And but it's
Yeah.
the 90s from a historical perspective. You see everyone talk about why do people love the 90s so much. It was such a fun time to be part of an entertainment boom, whether you were watching it or actually part of it. And the Looney Tune, we're going to get into it. We promise. This is a trailer reaction, but the Looney Tunes were such a pivotal part of that in the late 80s, early 90s. So
I
yeah.
agree. I agree. And I see all of those points and it all makes sense. So shout out to you, Heather. I feel that. And yeah, again, posing stuff that I haven't thought of in a while. But you're right. You're on the money, per like your locale and where you lived and all that. I think all of those are especially factors to where you probably lined up with everything and the gender differences as
Well,
well.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I meant to say this, and the age difference. Like
Yeah,
we
that
make fun
too.
of the fact that you're older than me, but in reality, there are certain elements that because I was raised at the exact right moment in time where Warner Brothers Kids was coming out, you were just a little bit older. You were just kind of aging out of that at that point. And I'm
Yeah.
not trying to make
No,
fun
it's
like that.
it's all
It's
good.
definitely a very interesting concept. It's you weren't you're just a generation above me, but at the same time, y'all weren't Disney princesses. We were because that was the resurgence. And it's interesting. It's just a very interesting concept. So
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the age. It's all love,
This
and
number.
it's all about how you feel inside. And so how I feel about this inside is I'm super excited. And I actually had the pleasure of checking this out. Looking forward for Heather and all my friends to finally see this because as we started, the world is going crazy. It's starting to blow up. Why not we just have an animated film from Looney Tunes about the day the Earth blew up? You ready to check this out, Heather?
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Absolutely.
For generations, you laughed with them, you cried with them, and watched them grow. In 2025, they're coming to the big screen like never before.
Daffy. Oh, sorry.
I barely even know you!
We're not afraid of nothing. What? Here's the script. Catch up on your own time. We have to act fast, and there's only one person that can do the job. Daffy Duck. Daffy?
Oh no, not the
no,
duck!
man.
The duck?
That's right, the duck.
You gotta be kidding me. Who greenlit this garbage?
Who's there?
Get it off me! Get it off me! Get it off me! Get it off me!
Oh, is it over?
All right, coming to theaters, super excited. Again, I had the pleasure of checking this out early because when they were having the big animation festivals around November of last year, I got to speak with bunch of great animators. One of them being Peter Browngardt, who is the showrunner, main creative mind now behind Looney Tunes. You know him from Uncle Grandpa. He's the creator of Uncle Grandpa and a bunch of other great projects. Really great conversation. So go check out that interview, y'all, with Peter on the channel, and hopefully also some new coverage coming soon with in regards to this particular film that hopefully Heather will be able to conduct. But Heather, as you said, you're a WB kid. I'm a WB kid. Without spoiling, this is since I had a chance to check this out. This is a return to form. I always think, I've always felt that the animated films that they've given us can go to everybody, whether you're young, old. There's the jokes for everyone. You know, kind of like what Disney does. They embed humor for the whole family, and I think they succeed here. Maybe a little bit more in with the WB stuff, and maybe a little bit more raunchy. And when I was watching it back then, I was like thinking, when did they get so Ren and Stimpy eyes? Because Ren and Stimpy was like part of this world, and the guy comes from Uncle Grandpa. But I think WB Warner cartoons have always been on that edge, right? And I think after time, maybe we just see it more because we've gotten older. You don't notice it as kids, but then your eyes become more wide as you get a parent, and you understand certain jokes that you didn't understand before. But there's a lot of goodness in here, and I can't wait for you to see it. What do you think of the day the Earth blew up?
Been waiting. I think most people who are Looney Tunes fans have been waiting for this movie for a while. Warner Brothers, give us back our Wile E. Coyote movie.
Yes,
It
I
does
want
not
that.
be a tax write-off. You can give it to us, and you could probably make more money that way. But I'm really excited for this movie. I like the reincarnations of the Looney Tunes. I enjoy the argument about the original Space Jam, not the weird reboot thing.
Yeah, I never got
Uh,
around to watching that LeBron piece
yeah,
of.
I actually have never watched it, nor do I have any intention to do so. I enjoyed Space Jam for what it was. I was also young enough that I could separate the classic Looney Tunes styling and the fact that they needed Michael Jordan. Fucking Michael Jordan. What do you expect? Of course he's going to be in a goddamn Looney Tunes movie. But I'm really excited for this. I feel like the Looney Tunes have needed kind of a refresher, especially since the Looney Tunes show was really fun, but it didn't get the audience that it needed, and it'll be fun to see. And it's the raunchiness is on purpose. It's the Looney Tunes have always been anti-Disney, and it's really great to see, and it's really fun to watch. And it's really great to see it's really actually fun to watch kids laugh at the same jokes you're laughing at, but wondering what they understood and what they didn't.
Yeah,
I like doing that with the Muppets. I'll watch it with like my nieces, and I'll be
that's
like,
true too. Muppets are doing that too. Yeah.
oh, they've been doing it since the beginning, and
Yeah.
it's we'll talk about this, I'm sure, with our Saturday night review whenever we talk about this. But the Muppets have honestly, for me, been like the most smexual of all of them because they make some smexy jokes. They make some real smexy jokes.
Yeah. It's
Um,
crazy when you think about it. They actually do. But yeah, excited. I think you'll love this. If you're a fan like I am of that old school stuff, and then they try to attempt some shorts relaunches recently, as you know. And it's by the same team. Peter was leading that effort, but they didn't, really grasp. So they started doing these features now, with this being kind of like the first to head out there, and I think it's pretty sweet. And looking forward to your thoughts on it. So there you go, y'all. Those are our thoughts on the day the Earth blew up, dropping February 28th. Go check out our interview right now already with Peter when he was first premiering this at the animation film festivals last year, but now it's getting this big wide release. So you're going to definitely want to check it out with the family and get your laugh on. That's my pal Heather Hurt. And also, hopefully soon, fingers crossed that I'll have Heather talking to the voice cast and Peter again, and we'll have some more coverage on this. So there you go. My pal Heather Hurt. I'm QP. Nerds Rule the World.